Insidious is a 2010 horror film directed by James Wan and written by Lee Winnell, starring Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, and Ty Simpkins, as a family looks to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in a realm called the Further. Sony presents this film for the first time in 4K with Dolby Vision and HDR10. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I'm Ken, and today, guys, we're here to talk about Insidious on 4K. That's right, this new 4K Steelbook that was just released by Sony a week early. This Steelbook was released. So it was supposed to come out on the 20th. It came out on the 13th. Got this in early, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one because I am a really big fan of James Wan's Insidious. Like, this is one of my favorite, for sure, one of my favorite horror movies of the 21st century in the 2010s. I think it's top tier horror. So I'm excited to talk about this movie. We're going to do a little Steelbook unboxing as well. We're going to talk about the transfer. We're going to talk about the audio, special features, all that good stuff. I like to paint the overall picture, guys, of whether or not this is worth picking up. Now, I will note that you can only get Insidious on 4K with this Steelbook. Like, you have to get the Steelbook to get this movie on 4K, and it's currently going for $29.41. I will link it down below in the description. It's not a Best Buy exclusive or anything like that. You can get it off of Amazon. You can also pick it up in your local Best Buy. I saw them in there this week. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. Before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We talk about physical media here on this channel, guys. Blu-rays, 4Ks, only the movies that you love. If you like that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. So I do have the Blu-ray from 2011 of Insidious. So the last time that I watched this movie was on Blu-ray. And I probably haven't seen the movie in about 5 years. So it's been quite a while since I've seen the Insidious movie. But I'll say it right now, like, watching this last night in 4K with Dolby Atmos, like, the sound was upgraded on this as well. What an immersive experience. I shut off all the lights. Like, I wanted to be scared, and I hadn't seen this movie in 4 or 5 years, and it did the trick. This movie is still scary. I was creeped out. I was like, this is a really great horror movie. And I've always been of the opinion, at least for the past like 5 or 6 years, that the Conjuring movies were better than this movie. Even though I've always liked this movie, but I was like, oh, the Conjuring was just kind of next level for James Wan. But going back and watching this, guys, I don't know anymore. Like, I feel like this might be, I love Malignant too. I feel like this might be the best James Wan movie, the best movie that he's ever done. Like, I was really taken by this film because it has something that the Conjuring movies don't have. The Conjuring movies do have the family element, but I love the way that they set up this movie. I love the way that they have the family in peril. I love the tragedy that takes place in the family. And all that just resonates so well. And you have the father-son relationship. You have the reluctant father. He doesn't want to believe what's going on with his kids actually true. And then he has that real-life trauma from his past and how that incorporates to the story of them getting his son back. Like, I just think that it's a very, like, personal, emotional, like, family journey. And I don't know, it works, and it's in the confines of this, like, super scary and immersive horror movie. I just love everything about it. I think Rose Byrne's great. I think Patrick Wilson's phenomenal in the movie. I love Lynn Shay, like, when her character of Elise comes into the story. I think it just kind of enhances everything. Like, the actual movie just gets even scarier when you get to some of those sequences toward the end. And I love this movie, though. Like I said, I hadn't seen it in about 5 or 6 years. The last time I watched it, I remember liking it a lot as well. And I liked it when it came out, but I watched it last night, again, with the lights out, which is the best way to watch this movie. Watch it with the lights out on 4K. We'll get to that here in a second. And man, did this movie just draw me in. And I was just hooked through the entire, like, hour and 40-minute runtime. This is horror at its best, supernatural horror at its best. Like, this is a movie, it even says it on the Blu-ray right here, the most terrifying film since The Exorcist. And I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say that it's, you have The Shining, you have a couple other horror movies, The Thing in the 80s and the 90s, Candyman, that's, you know, pretty damn scary too. But damn, man, it's close. Like, this movie is freaking awesome. Like, I love the first Insidious. I think it's so good. So I am a big fan of Insidious. If you haven't seen this movie and you're a fan of the horror genre, you're in for a treat. And I also love how the movie's PG-13. It's not R. And I don't know how they got away with it, because yes, there's no blood, there's no guts, there's no gore, there's no cursing, there's not a lot of, you know, foul language or anything like that. Not a lot of inappropriate content. Definitely not, you know, boobs and nudity or anything like that. But The movie's scary, and I'm pretty sure that The Conjuring, like, it doesn't have all that stuff either, but that's rated R because they said it was just too scary to make it PG-13. I think this movie's pretty damn scary too. When you get to that, some of that stuff at the end with the Darth Maul demon or whatever you want to call it. I've heard him be referred to as the Darth Maul demon before. I can't remember his name. I feel like they give him a name in the movie, but like, he's scary as hell. The old lady is scary as hell. Like, all the imagery in the movie, especially in the last 30 minutes, is so creepy. The one scene that really got me in the movie, though, and I'm not trying to spoil the whole movie, guys. I'm really not trying to do that. But when she's walking through the laundry room and she puts the coat on the rack and you see the boy over there with the hat just standing, facing the wall. And it's something that if you're not paying like super close attention to, you might miss it. But when I saw that, I had to rewind it. I was like, did I just see what I thought I just saw? Because I completely forgot about that. And then she goes outside and he starts dancing or whatever in the house. But that's such an effective sequence. So yeah, I was so happy watching this movie. I'm like, I feel like I watch a lot of horror movies now. And I just watched The Changeling on 4K. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about The Changeling, but that didn't give me that creepiness that I was hoping for. But watching this movie and watching just how James Wan works and how he moves the camera and how he sets up his shots, like, the guy knows horror. Like, he is one of the greatest horror filmmakers. Like, to me, like, he's a modern day master of the genre. I think 20 years from now, we're going to be talking about James Wan in the same way that we're talking about Wes Craven, that we're talking about John Carpenter today. I think he's that damn good. And I love Malignant. I can't wait to see what he does next. But he did a terrific job of this movie. I don't remember the second Insidious. I haven't seen that one in a while, being as good, or the third or the fourth one. But this movie, the first Insidious, this to me is a horror classic. And I think it totally and completely stands the test of time. So if you haven't seen the first Insidious, you got to check this movie out. I'm reluctant to give it a 5 out of 5. I don't want to give it quite that. I feel like it needs to grow on me just a little bit more. I don't know. I do really love it, but I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 right now, guys. I like to reserve my 5 out of 5s for like just the best movies. Like, to me, The Shining and The Exorcist, those are clear, and The Thing are clear 5 out of 5s. That's my top 3 horror movies of all time. But I'm going to say it right now, today, and I might watch The Conjuring, The Conjuring 2 tomorrow, and they'll move up on my ranking. Insidious is the best James Wan movie to me. I think this is freaking good. And the fact that it's PG-13 makes it even more impressive, because you don't see PG-13 horror movies this damn good, like, and scary. Like, this movie is scary. I cannot overemphasize that. Such a scary horror movie. But let's go ahead and jump into what I'm sure that you're all, waiting to hear about, and that's how's the 4K? How's the 4K transfer? So this isn't upscaled 4K. So this movie was shot digitally. So they upscaled the 4K, but they added in the Dolby Vision and the HDR10. And I knew the second that this was announced and I saw Sony's name to it, because I didn't remember that this was a Sony Pictures release or anything. So with the second that it was announced and I saw Sony's name next to it and they were doing this nice Steelbook, and I'm like, this is going to be quality, because Sony just does quality 4Ks. Like, I know what you did last year when it came out in September, I think. That was one of the best looking 4Ks all of last year. So no matter what they do, they put their energy into it, and they deliver some of the best 4Ks that we've seen on the market. I think that Sony is doing boutique level quality work in 4K. They are blowing all the other studios out of the water in terms of their 4K restorations. I think Warner Brothers does a good job. I think Universal does a good job. I think Paramount's hit or miss. Disney obviously sucks, guys. I say it over and over again. I think that Sony is the best as far as quality in these studio labels. So every time you see that Sony's going to do a 4K restoration, you know it's going to be quality. That's why I'm so excited for So I Married an Axe Murderer. Matilda's coming out with the Steelbook. That's going to look incredible. So this was amazing, though. The 4K quality here was absolutely amazing. I noticed it straight from the beginning. Such detail, guys. Such clarity. As soon as you get that close-up shot on Rose Byrne as she's laying in the bed, you could see every single wrinkle. You could see every single blemish. You could see every single little pore on her face. The detail is there, the clarity is there in ways that was not on this Blu-ray. I can tell you that right now. There is such detail in this presentation and picture quality here that it's honestly unbelievable. Like, you will see Insidious like you never saw before. Like, this movie's so So great in 4K. And it's a haunted house story, and a lot of it's really dark, and a lot of the scenes are at night. And when you get to some of those sequences in the final 30 minutes where they're going into the further and Patrick Wilson goes into the further to get his son, and you have all those green lights on and they're reflecting off of the ghostly figures that are walking around the house, like all of that stuff just looks incredible. Like those close-up shots of those like ghosts and stuff when he's walking through the living room, like just the close-ups, like you can just see everything so clearly. You see stuff like back in the corners that I honestly don't remember seeing before. But it freaked me out because I was like, I don't remember seeing that. And I was like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? So you can just make stuff out a lot better, which just made it even more creepy because you're just noticing like more dangerous things around as Patrick Wilson's going through the house. But when he goes through the red door, and the red door looks incredible with the HDR, so many colors like in that final 30 minutes. The movie itself is really good looking visually. Like the house has a really nice aesthetic to it that looks great with the HDR and the enhancements. But when you get to that stuff in the final 30 minutes, like when he's going through the red door and he's in that demon's lair and he's getting his son, you have all the red lights, and then you see the demon up in the window, and then he comes down and his face is red. All that stuff looks incredible, like I thought that it would with that HDR and the Dolby Vision. And I thought there was such great range and colors. The black levels were perfect, and it's just one of the best 4Ks that I've seen all year. I thought this looked absolutely incredible. Now, you go back and you watch the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray looks pretty damn good too. And I mean, it came out back in 2011. It's a good looking Blu-ray, but I'm telling you, when you compare that Blu-ray to this 4K, like there's no comparison. Like the clarity and the detail that you get with this 4K is absolutely outstanding. And that HDR, you just can't beat it when you get into some of those final sequences toward the end. So I thought that this 4K was absolutely phenomenal and just a standout 4K release of 2023. So getting into the audio, you do get a Dolby Atmos track in this release, and that is a upgrade from the 5.1 that was present on the Blu-ray. The Atmos, honestly, listening to this in Atmos was just incredible. Such great sound design. Like James Wan just really knows how to utilize sound in his films to kind of intensify the situations that are going on in the movie. And I thought everything sounded wonderful. You can just hear every creak, every bump. You know, when he likes to suck the sound out of the room and make things really quiet. And then he just hits you with these loud, blaring noises out of nowhere. And all that stuff works so incredibly well, like the loud, like piano keys and the just everything's so great. Like in the beginning, like I love the title card in this movie where Insidious pops up and it's just like you have like I believe it's violins. I'm not a musician, but I believe it's violins that you hear in the beginning when you hear that screeching and Insidious pop up. But just amazing across the board. The sound is absolutely wonderful. It was awesome to hear Tiptoe Through the Tulips in Atmos as well. So I love the sound here. I thought that Sony did a great job with the sound. You're hearing this movie like you've never heard it before. So getting into this Steelbook packaging, it's a nice Steelbook. I mean, I'm a sucker for just utilizing that classic poster. And I mean, it's the classic poster of Insidious with the boy on the front. And I think it looks great. You flip it around, you got the red door on the back, which is definitely a nice touch. I'll show you the spine right there. If it can focus, bam. Open it up, you do get a digital code here. You also get a 4K disc, of course, right there. And you get, and I believe on the 4K disc, you only get a trailer as far as the special features. And one thing that's a little disappointing, I'll go ahead and get into the special features a little bit here, is the Blu-ray here has all the special features, but this is the exact same Blu-ray disc that was present on the previous Blu-ray from 2011. So there's nothing different about these Blu-rays. There's no additional special features. All the special features that are present on the 2011 Blu-ray are present on this Blu-ray. So they didn't add in any new special features with this release, which is a little disappointing. I would have liked to have seen them because I don't believe there is an audio commentary with James Wan on here. At least from what I'm seeing. So it would have been nice if they did an audio commentary with James Wan or Leigh Whannell. Maybe they did it together talking about this movie because they worked on this movie together. I mean, these two guys go way back. They worked on Saw together, of course, back in 2004. They worked on Dead Silence, I'm pretty sure, together. So I would have definitely liked to have heard from them talking about this movie or even new special features because they both did special features for Dead Silence, talking about that movie for Scream Factory. So I don't know why Sony couldn't get them to do some special features for Insidious, because like I said, like this is the best movie that they've done. I love this movie so much. But inside you got the cool artwork from the kids, drawings and stuff. You know, last night I watched myself sleep, then I flew away, which will definitely make more sense when you watch the actual film itself. But overall, guys, look, even with the lack of special features, I think this is a great Steelbook. Again, you have this interior artwork, and I like the artwork on the outside as well. The transfer is phenomenal. This movie is incredible. I think it's one of the, it's top 5 to me, top 5 horror movies of the 21st century. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I absolutely love Insidious. So if you haven't seen this movie and you don't own it in your collection, I'd say getting this is a no-brainer. And it is, like I said, currently $29.41 right now for the 4K Steelbook. Not a bad price at all. So thank y'all so much for watching my review of Insidious on 4K. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, be sure to leave me a comment down below. What's your thoughts on Insidious? Are you going to be picking up this Steelbook based on my recommendation? Let me know all that in the comment section below. Again, I will link a copy of it from Amazon down below in the description. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.